Alrighty folks, we are back at it.
This round, we're going to be doing some work on the floors. More work on the floors anyways. So, turns out by me putting this clip in, it's probably made way more work for myself, but we do have good suspension upgrades and stuff like that. Brakes, whatever. About a video or two back when I had to pull that sway bar off, everybody was always questioning about that, but you can see, I don't know. I am not worried about it.
I don't think a vehicle I own has a sway bar on it, so
Fuck that. I'm not gonna talk about that.
let's start over again, 'cause that sucked. Okay, here we go. Alrighty folks, we back at it.
This time around, we're gonna do the floors. We gotta get these things kind of sorted out. They're a little bad, but not the end of the world. I was gonna just patch up around here, but I think the big thing I gotta do is, I think it's just easier because of this tunnel's really hooping a feller. We're gonna probably just get rid of these, remake these mounts, and we're just gonna start from scratch. I don't know that I'm gonna put a bench back in. We'll see. I'm not using the original bench anyways. So I don't know if these mounts are relevant. They actually go straight into the frame, which is kind of neat. But anyways, seeing how high this is, and looking into this whole thing, it's looking like I'm gonna have some exhaust issues. I had some manifolds, and this side is doable. I haven't tried with headers yet, so I don't know, but it's kind of interfering with that mount. And then this side's like, it's just aggressively tight with the steering and stuff. So I don't know. I don't know if a small block is the way to go. I'm not 100% sure yet. I'm kind of determined I want to use this thing, but it's not the end of the world, I guess, if I don't. I know normally they just fit in here, but I think even if I had ram horns or block huggers, I haven't found a set that work with an LS, so we may have to switch things around. I'm not sure. I'm debating whether I'm going to cut out the firewall and I'm going to push the motor further back, which just give me a little more room up in the front here with a lot of things. Like the steering pulleys kind of wants to rub a lot of things. Yeah, it's kind of weird.
I don't know if I should just grab a small block and just try it just to see. I kind of would like to do that just because I like the modern conveniences, and I do want to drive it, and I like my remote start, so. And I don't know. Small block's good and reliable. I'm not biased on that.
I just think this would be a nice little upgrade. So if we do that, the plan is to cut this up higher, and we'll build like a big tunnel, like a hump in here, so we can kind of suck the motor back. Like if we brought this to about, you know, a bunch of inches back, just to make way more room in the front, things like that. The exhaust is the only thing that has me concerned. Well, it doesn't. I mean, if I have to, I'll just make some headers. It's not the end of the world. We're about as low as we can go, but it's a definite interesting scenario. Like the steering itself is not bad. We might have to lose the column shifter just because there just may not be room for all of this, but I do have a set of headers up there. I should maybe just try them out and see how this goes, because if they sort of just work, I may not have to be as aggressive going in. A lot of the firewall needs to get redone anyways, because you can see there's just like a million holes through it now. So you might clean up some things. Like that e-brake isn't going to work. It's like hitting the back of the block right now. So it's that little nubby bit. So we're not even going to try to reuse it. We're just going to poof that thing out. And well, we'll see. Here we go. Like I say, if I have to pull that shifter arm out, I guess we'll do it, but we could always yeah, I don't know, maybe the whole column will get changed. I don't know yet. We'll see what happens. But first things first, I got to get rid of this. We're going to cut all that out. These sill plates have to come out. I've tried taking them out. None of the screws want to cooperate, so I'm kind of just going to hoof it. I'm questioning whether I'm going to be doing a pedal like the way stock was, do a pedal under the floor, because I don't know that anything is going to work on the firewall. It might. We'll see. Depends how my new firewall comes to be. Because I mean, there is room there. Nah, that shouldn't be a problem. To run like a boost pedal assembly off of there. The more I look at it, I think it ditch all this wiring.
Yeah, there's I don't know, a few things to think about.
The big one though, I think I just got to ditch this floor. I think it's just easier to build a brand new floor. There's a couple little bit of bracing, but for the most part, this thing is just, it's really deep grooved, and that's kind of how the floor goes. I don't know if I'll just scab some framing off of the frame just to give me a little, you know, something to rest on, I guess, so to say, but I don't know.
Don't have a definite game plan. We'll make it up as we go here.
All right. Oh, see here I have the idea to do a hanger bearing and then do like a two-piece drive shaft. I don't know if we'll have to still do that whole scenario. I think so, because underneath here, when we get there, there's a brace back here, and it's like a connector for the frame. So I don't know that I want to cut that out. We might modify it so I can get the hanger bearing in that we can take in and out. I think that one's just from like an S10 or something like that, if I remember right. Maybe not. Maybe, because it's a pretty beefy hanger bearing in there. I don't know that I can ditch it. Maybe we can. We'll see. But that'll involve like crazy amount of work, because I'm gonna have to. Oh, maybe it won't be so bad because it does come up. I can get into there. Maybe we can cut this out and do a one piece, because this thing's gonna sit pretty high, and we might be able to notch and go over the cross member inside. I mean, a one piece would be an ideal setup, and I don't care that we raise this up really high. That won't bother me at all. But I do know the motor's about right, but I think it should come back.
Well, maybe first I'll go grab these headers that I got, and we'll just see how bad our situation is for our exhaust here. These are actually for Esther's car, but well, I can always get another set. That's the thing. So I have an oil pan and I have these headers. All right, well, I need two hands, so we'll test fit these and see where we get. Well, that is terrible. Like, this side looks doable. We have to cut some inner fender well, but I think this is going to fit no problem. This side, though, there's like, my goodness. My options are really garbage. I tried to put on one of these. I think this is a car manifold or something, so it's much thinner than an LS. The LS, like a truck manifold, kind of comes out more. I think the outlet's kind of the same, but it's much slimmer up here, but still no bueno. And then when I try to flip it reverse, sometimes you can get away with that, but it's like directly in front of the steering box, and I can't do anything because it ends up right on top of the frame. So I don't know. Like, I think I'm gonna have the similar problem even if I did a small block. Like, I don't know how far back I can push this before it gets easier or more work. I might just grab a small block today just to try it. I wouldn't be happy about it, but I mean, if I had to, that's an option anyways. I mean, this motor will never go to waste. There'll definitely have somewhere else I'll use it, but actually be a perfect motor for Esther's car if it comes down to it. Well, for now, let's just carve the floor up. We'll start with that. We got to build the floor, and if anything, we can build the middle sections up to the tunnel part. So like, we can kind of do these as one pan. Kind of comes up here, and we're going to do this, and then it's going to kick up. So this should be pretty straightforward. But first I'm going to have to, like I say, these don't come off, so I'm going to have to pry them off. We're going to have to wreck these, unfortunately. I mean, I guess I can drill them, but they're not very good shape anyway, so you can always make a new set. It's not a big deal. All right, de-smoking the shop here. Actually, that brace that I found here is actually a little, I thought it was back here, which is fine. The floor was garbage, so we got to get that cleaned out. I got to clean out some stuff. This edge is not terrible. That side, it's bad. So we'll end up having to make up a few more panels than I want. This middle section is probably, I don't know if I can do it in one. It'd be pretty fancy if I did, but we'll see, because we gotta do a small patch here. So I don't know if it's just worth making the whole dang thing just like we have to on the other side or not, but we'll see. I guess in the end it doesn't really matter, because I guess in here there's a groove for the door seal, so that's why there's a step down, and then there's no actual inner rocker in this car, so it's just a hollow shell, so not too big of a deal. But this side's pretty rotten, like it's pretty bad, so we'll have to address this stuff. You can see here's a little bit of that half brace that kind of gets zapped to the floor, so I'm kind of trying to trim it away so when I make the floor it's good. It's kind of a different way, eh? They got the seal here versus most cars have them on the door, so yeah, I'm a little mixed. Yeah, this one's pretty toast. Yeah, the inner floor went over to here and then it pinch welded onto that side. Maybe we do that. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm gonna make that one up as we go. So I cut out the hanger bearing and just got that out. I notched this out because I think no matter what I do, I am certain this motor is gonna sit pretty high. But we'll see. I brought in a small block that I got, so I might hook everything up and just try it in there and just see if it's just an easier swap, then that'd just be better. You know, I'm not married on this, so this doesn't bother me. And I guess if a fella really wanted to, it could put fuel injection from one of the aftermarket companies on there. I'm not usually a fan of all that because, well, if you're stuck on the side of the road because something goes flaky with that on a road trip, you're pretty hooped. So I like to stick with OEM stuff if I can. Anyways, what are we gonna do first? Like, well, I know I gotta have to trim more of this away. I won't trim that side out. I'm gonna use it kind of as a pattern. There's no real pattern. Like that could just be flat to there and then just the lip, honestly. Like this is just way more complicated that it steps down. I don't think that it needs to step down. I think we can make it all just as a single, right up to this edge and then bend it. I don't think it needs all the extra stuff. Could be wrong, but anyways, I did hog out the back here, and the idea there is just I'll be able to put a drive shaft on. We'll try to figure out how much travel we got. I mean, in the stock form, that was it, but we did lower it, so we might have to go up a little higher, but that's probably all going to be done from underneath, and then we'll spot weld it all underneath. We'll build a new hump going all the way up to here. Anyways, this thing's still all chained up, so I think my first thing I'm going to do is, before I get carried away here and start cutting a lot of the firewall out, I just want to try this motor and just see if this is going to work out better for me. Let's see what we got here. I believe it's just a bone stock 350. I'm going to hook it up to the transmission. And if this works out better for me, perfect. Ooh. I guess it was in a little bit of a fire. As long as it's loose, it's gonna run. Oh yeah, that's fine. No biggie. Just got a little warm, that's all. Well, that's unfortunate. This thing seems to fit better.
It's not good this way yet, but we can easily fix that with some firewall work. I actually did buy, I bought a wheelbarrow I was going to use with the LS to suck it back, but I don't know. I guess unless I mount that LS higher, but there's still exhaust issues. The thing is, the exhaust options are really cheap. They're cheap for the LS, provided those one particular headers I got work. They're like $130. So this one, I have ram horns, and I'm pretty sure once I get this thing to go back a couple more inches, we're going to be good. I don't know. I'm still mixed on the steering column. I'm thinking we're going to be a little hooped there. Like, as far as trying to go off the column for the shifter, we might have to just go with a floor shifter. I don't know. We'll see. We might be able to make something and just do it still, but it's a bulky and in the way. Steering shouldn't be an issue because we can kind of go there with an idler and then kind of come in with one wobble joint. Well, we need 2 wobble joints. We probably can deflect enough with the rag joint that we'll hit 3/4 inch heim or something over here, and then we can come back to the steering column. And then that gives us plenty of room just to dump our exhaust straight down. You see me before, I was digging around in the motor everything because when I took the carb off, one of these bolts went missing. And I found one. I just put one on, but that's why I was scoping and sticking a magnet in there. I was worried. I heard it fall, but I wasn't sure if it fell beside the motor or it fell in the motor. So that's why I was digging around in the motor, making sure it wasn't in there. Anyways, this is a little bit of a newer motor. You can tell because it's got the center bolt. It was a fuely job, but anyways, actually somebody bought the proper intake too. It's got the proper bolts in the middle. Anyways, I don't know if that's any good. I know the motor's still it's a little off-centered, but I'm okay with that if everything works. We got the clamshells on there. Like, I guess in the end, no, I'll keep this in here. This is just going to be so much easier. Like, I'll get a ram horn. I'll see that it clears here. They go down. Well, even if I had to, I could do block hugger headers if I had to go that way. Maybe we'll do it just because it's got a few little hop-ups on it already, but again, I want this to go back more, but it'd be kind of nice if this thing sat right on where they're supposed to be. We'll probably have to do a little bit of pad, so this will come up a little bit more, but whatever. I guess we're gonna run a small block. That's what we're gonna do. Oh well.
Like that's a problem. Everybody runs them.
In here it seems to fit well, so that's okay. All right, so we've lollygagged enough. We know what we're gonna do. Now I need to I guess we're just gonna start with I got a nice spanky new sheet. I guess I'll do a couple quick measurements. I think I can kind of make this 1/2 in one piece, maybe. We'll see.
We'll give it a try. We'll see what we can do here. I am thinking it's possible, but that might do the long, lanky way.
Like we might end up having to do a long schlenk instead of, like, if it's 4 foot, that's just more manageable.
I don't know. We'll try it. We'll see what we got. We're going to do a couple quick measurements, and then we'll just start hacking this thing up.
Well, been farting along. We kind of got this part done. I was originally gonna do one big piece, but then it would have screwed up my sheet that I would have needed 2 sheets to make just this center part. So one sheet pretty much will cover, well, it's gonna cover this section. So I think the piece that I cut is good enough to do there and there yet. And then we have to do that hump. We'll have to make the whole drive shaft hoop. Yeah, there's not a lot of bracing, but it depends what I do. I'm thinking I'm going to do a bench seat again, and then we can kind of utilize the original holes, or if it comes off, I'll build some off brackets off the frame that I can bolt it to. But so far, this is working out pretty good. I ended up doing the lip, as you can see, the step up, and it's working really good. Other than here, the only spot here is this. The other side's good, and I'm just going to weld it to that edge. This one's worse. And it actually ties into back here yet. So I'm thinking what I did, I was gonna make it in one piece and I decided it's probably easier to do 2. But I wanna cut just off this edge and then basically build another step to which we can kind of zap these 2 together, and then we can kind of zap it on this edge. For the most part, it's really good. It's only here. So, you know, I'm gonna trim it back to this thing that we can kind of spot weld it along this lip. And then we can fix this little part. I feel I may as well just make the whole darn thing, because in here it's pretty bad. Up in the front's not bad, so when we make the front patch, we can kind of do that. This, of course, yeah, we still got to like bead roll and do everything in there. I'm just kind of making the patches right now, and then I can figure out what I want to bead roll into it or what I want to do there. These ones will be a little bit smaller, and then I'm not 100% sure what I'm doing on the firewall. I know things work under the hood, but oh, side note, I grabbed some manifolds. So I have a weird car one. I don't know what this is, like a G-body or it's something. It's like a car manifold. So it fits good. I think I can tuck it back and work it across the front of the firewall. Not sure. Then this side, like the ram horns, just works awesome. So I don't know. If the LS had one, I guess maybe I could have done that, but not too worried about it. I'd like to get this back some more. The only thing is my little shifter pod's a little screwy, but I'll figure that out and do it tighter to the firewall to do the transmission shift. Other than that, everything's looking pretty good under here. Like I say, we're going to do some firewall work. I want to clean this up, so I may as well kind of step this out a little bit just to give some room to get at stuff. Like, I just like to be able to maintain things if I have to. It's kind of important to me. Here, I'm not sure whether I'm going to change pulleys or I'll run some kind of a serpentine dealio. I don't know that I need that, but we'll see. See how this jives yet. I don't have any of this serpentine stuff. I had the stuff on the other truck, but I don't know. I don't know if I want to run it. It's kind of ugly. We might swap all this stuff out. It depends on my pulley selection that I got. And then I would like to get this back another inch or 2. That way I just have more room for a rad. Unfortunately, it's a newer block, so I can't run a mechanical. We're going to have to run an electric pump on this, but unfortunately, it just seems like I'm running a small block. Well, I say that like that's a bad thing, but it's not. It's much simpler. I'm just sad because I won't have my remote start for winter here. Other than that, you can do everything with that. You can see my last truck has a small block in it, and it's fine. I think that one, I'm going to guess it's a 350. I don't know. Anyways, I'm going to go in for supper. The plan is after supper, we're going to cut up and bend up the toe boards because we need a little bit more meat right here. And then, boom, boom, we'll get up these toe board things figured out and then probably step into doing some bead rolling. I think Austin's going to be by tonight. Now, that's the fella who owns that truck. And I think we're just about done. We're going to try to work on the shifter. I don't think he has one right now, so temporarily we just want to modify and try to fix the one that I put in there like a long time ago. So, and it's pretty straightforward. I think what we're going to do is we just got to modify the length of the shift rod, because right now to go through all the gears is only maybe an inch of movement or something, and we want to be able to use like the neutral park lockout and stuff. A buddy of mine figures the shifters from like a Chevelle or something like that. I don't know. Anyways, we're gonna make a new plate for it, and then whatever. I guess it'll work for a temporary thing in there. Well, that's unfortunate. I bent that the wrong way. Dang it. I got the angle of the bend right. Whoops. It wasn't supposed to be this way. Well, the length was right. So, let's do that again. Well, I'm not gonna waste more steel. It was 11 1/4. All right, gonna have to straighten these out a little bit. How do we do that? With a hammer. That's not bad. Just a floor. Not a big deal. Let's do this one quick, and then we'll bend it the right way. And then we got to notch out a little chunk because we got to do by the door where the rocker is. And then I want to bend the other side up because just to fix up a little bit of rot going up that side. Okay, we'll see you at the break. These both will fit in here or not. Kind of don't think so. Make sure I can see both my marks. Not quite. One at a time. A little better. Oh, this one's a little taller. We'll see which one's closer.
Did a couple boo-boos, but overall, we got it to fit. So, I don't know what you want to call that. Toe board? Heel board? Something like that. So we did it in 4 pieces. It's not done, but we're getting there. So, right now, well, it doesn't look like a rusted mess, so that's kind of nice, right? We kind of did a really loose trim around here. I don't know how I like that yet. I kind of goofed on that side, so I can tighten that up a little. I don't know, we'll see what I do here yet. I'm not 100% how I'm doing this finished product there. And then over here, I kind of cut, didn't realize the hole was bigger. I cut off a bunch of excess, and I might have had almost enough steel to fix this, but oh well, that's how she goes. So, and then I did a little extra cut and a snip, and I goofed on some spots, but all it is just makes me have to weld some more. Like right here, I cut out a little sliver because I thought I'd be, instead of it overlapping and squishing and whatever, some of the bends didn't work, but that's why we have a hammer and a sharp edge on the fork on the tractor so we can straighten things out. Anyways, overall, it's a decent fit, so it'll work. Next step is I'll probably just bead a single line into the middle of here, and maybe the same here. I'm not going to do any fancy patterns or nothing. I just need it to do the basics. I want to make sure I'm going to bead roll so there's grooves on the top, just so it pokes out the bottom, if that makes sense. I guess you can go any way, it doesn't really matter. I just don't want to, because the floor actually kind of sits on this brace, so I'll probably lift it up. I'm going to Sharpie the places I don't want to bead a line on. And this being flat is not a big deal, so I'll be able to mark it out, bead roll it on the bottom side. And this one, there's a little excess steel on here, but I felt I was cutting it, and I'll just make it similar, kind of same side to side. So we'll trim away this excess stuff up here. Huh. I don't know if I'll go that high. Maybe you went a little aggressive on that, but that's okay. Can be a small sliver piece for something. Small patchwork. I don't know why. Why is that one so high? I guess because the pedals and stuff are in there. Oh well, no biggie. Okay, well, let's lift it up. Start sharpening out everywhere I don't want to roll a bead into it, and then we'll work from there. We'll just kind of make a mess of lines everywhere. What that's going to do, the mess of lines, is it'll get rid of that, and then I want to make sure I have room for whatever our tunnel eventually is going to be going through here, and that'll add strength all to the floor as well. It's not a traditional floor where there's a lot of skeletal stuff. The floor itself, I guess, is, I wouldn't say it's, well, I guess it's structural overall, I guess, but hey, here's what it is. We'll just pick at it one piece at a time until we get it. Let's just mark some lines and start rolling some beads in there. Well,
clearly I misread one of my lines while I was doing something. This part's right. This one I must have veered a wee bit, because you can see that is what I wanted to do. Oh well. You know what? You won't see it when there's carpet and everything else going on. So we got here, we did a few ribs in there, kind of did a little outliney dealio in here. This is the frame rail, so at least that part is right from side to side. The only thing is the frame rail, it kind of boogies across here, but it's supposed to, there's a beam here I didn't really want this to sit on, because now it's a little wobbly, but whatever. It is what it is. I'm not going to redo it, so. And again, it's fine. It's under the seat. You won't see it. It was just more a cleanly thing I was trying to do, but oh well. Whoops.
well, there's a lot of worse things that a feller could have done, I guess.
But we got our floor started. I think we're doing pretty good so far. I got to do some cleanup in here, so I think next step is we're going to kind of just zap stuff. We're going to wire brush it, and then we'll zap it with the laser deal, just to give us a nice clean spot to weld stuff. Like I said, here's pretty good, so we'll be able to basically, we'll trim some of this away, but we'll be able to zap that on. That side, we still have to build a step, but I'd like to get some of this just zapped in so we can kind of start working on the other parts of the floor. Yeah, there's just not a lot of bracing anywhere. It's weird how the whole floor tunnel structure was. I might add some bracing underneath just to feel better, because there's just nothing in between these things going on. I mean, this thing's high enough right now, the way I have the motor mounted in, that this tranny cross member is almost going to double as a, a floor brace. I guess in the big picture, if you think about it, if I go back here and pull some of these away. That trans brace? Nah, not really. We might be able to do something there though to give it a little bit of extra meat for somewhere with the floor to rest on. Yeah, it's kind of a weird design when I think about it more and more. Usually there's a few more little bracing and things going on. The original floor didn't have a lot of stuff. Oh well. Not that big of a deal. We'll get it sorted out.
Well, sort of all over the place here, but we did get a floor in-ish. It's kind of half there. I feel it's halfway there. We got a little more bracing, like a little more stuff to build there over that rocker. And, well, we got to do the hump, the hoop. But we got to do some motor stuff as well, because we're going to have to figure out the firewall side of it. We're going to have to make some room for the distributor. I'd like it to go back a little more, just to give us more breathing room for the rad. So you can see where the distributor is and what we got here. We got, I don't know, like probably go back at least 3 more inches. So we'll kind of notch that out for the distributor. But I also want to make sure a feller can get the distributor out if they had to, because it would really suck to put that in and then you're kind of screwed. You have to pull the motor out to get the distributor. So we'll see how that goes. I think there's enough room. Well, when you take the cap off, there should be enough room as long as I build the hood right up to this ridge. I'm feeling I'm just going to make a little hoop into there. Yeah. I don't know. There's a lot going on in my head right now. Things to do here. But I think for this video, I think that is where we are going to leave this one with a half completed floor. But compared to what we started with, this is looking a lot better already. So, yeah. Anyways, folks, as always, I want to thank you all for watching, and we will catch you on the next one. Later.